from the Redneck Garage. Well, I'm back in the back of the yard, and I've got a vehicle back here that needs to get running. I haven't driven this thing for probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. It's got antique plates on it because it is an antique, and I thought today we'd take a look at it. We'd take a look at getting it started, see if we can get it running. And the things that made this probably one of the most unique vehicles ever imported into the United States. You had some weird stuff back in the 60s, but say 70s, 80s, this was probably one of the most unique vehicles ever brought in, and probably why they didn't sell them for a very long time. There was some more issues with that. So I thought we'd go through a little history on the 86 Toyota van, what made them unique, and see if we can get this stinking thing started and running. So let's get going.
Introducing a Wonder Wagon.
Wonder what it is.
Introducing the new 1984 Toyota van. You'll wonder why no one ever thought of it before.
I wonder if it's a car. I wonder if it's a van.
It looks like nothing you've ever seen before. It can seat 7, sleep 4, or carry 1,500 pounds of apples. You can even get an ice maker. And 2 sunroofs.
I know, it's a condominium.
Make no mistake about it, the new Toyota van.
Toyota brought forth upon this continent a new van, and they called it the van. The van was really kind of a unique vehicle. It was super cool. There was a lot of really cool features. It held 7 passengers. It got 30 miles to the gallon. It had front and rear air. It was more like the old Jeep FCs, if you remember those. If you remember what those looked like, it was forward control. You sat on top of the wheels, which means it turned on its own radius. It had an incredible turning ratio. You could put it in parking spaces really easy. All in all, it was a great van. Now, with that, there was some really inherent problems with the van, and we're going to go through those, and I'm going to show you what they are. From a driver's standpoint, if you bought a brand new van, you just freaking loved it. There was nothing to do, no problems. However, when it needed maintenance, the mechanics almost refused to work on it. It was absolutely terrible for that. From a consumer standpoint, people didn't want to do maintenance on it, and we're going to go through that too. Why people didn't check the oil or make sure it had antifreeze. And really, there were some inherent design flaws. Because you sat on top of the motor, it developed a high amount of heat. And that heat does what? It makes rubber hoses brittle. It burns up spark plug wires. It causes all kinds of issues. The belts get dry and crack. And if you were sitting on top of it, the stinking thing could be on fire and you wouldn't see any smoke because it's underneath the van. Toyota used a forklift motor in it, so it was really, really durable. It had a cast iron block and everything. However, they were still prone to overheating just because of all those other things that I said. And because people didn't check them or didn't notice it, they just kept driving the stinking things. Now, Toyota usually would just blow a head gasket, but unfortunately, Nissan, who brought in a van to the United States very similar, trying to compete with Toyota, had many more problems. That van was a piece of crap. It developed oil leaks, and then guess what? The thing became an inferno, a torch, a Bunsen burner. It became so bad and so awful. After recall, Nissan finally just threw in the towel, said, we're going to give you a bunch of money to take your van back. We'll pay you book value, whatever's wrong with it. And then they crushed them all. There was still a few around, but not many, because they made the deal pretty sweet because they were so afraid of being in a lawsuit. Mitsubishi also had one. These vans were very, very popular over in Japan for many years before that. They're in Australia, Canada, all over the place. But in the United States, they failed. And for the most part, it was because of how hard they were to work on and the overheating issues. People couldn't do maintenance on them themselves. There's a lot of things. And we're going to see that in the video here as we take a look at that. Let's go out to the van and I'm going to show you what we're doing trying to get this thing started. Oh, my poor baby looks rough. It's got mold on it. Sometimes you just get a vehicle that you don't drive very much, end up parking it, gets harder to get it out to drive it, and then she just sits. So that's what's happened with this. Now, at one time, probably 8 years ago, I restored this thing, painted it. It looks rough as a cob right now. But I wanted to see if we can get this thing to start. Then we can move it out a little bit to see all the unique features of the Toyota van, good, bad, and many ugly. Probably one of the first things you'll notice about a Toyota van, besides that they didn't have a name for it except for van, was that there is no hood. That looks like a hood, but it's really not a hood. The motor sits under the front seat, so let's see if we can get that seat up and take a look at the motor in this thing. Well, there's the motor. There's the motor. Basically, you sit, that's the seat, you sit on top of the motor, and that was one of the reasons that this van popularity died and they quit selling them in the United States. During the winter it's pretty nice, you've got a seat heater, but during the summer you can see that I put insulation all across the bottom here where it sits in the engine compartment, because it can get hot. Now it even has air conditioning. Now this plate over here, you can see that bolt right there, that whole plate, seat, everything can come off, but even then it is very difficult to do anything to this motor. And if you can imagine taking the head off of this thing the way that it's in here, it is a huge hassle, truthfully. The engine in this thing is a 4Y-E, and it was one of the earlier Toyota fuel injection engines. About the same time they started fuel injecting the Toyota pickup trucks too, but it was originally a forklift motor. That's where these things came from. Okay, so I've filled up the antifreeze, which is right here, and I checked the oil, which is back there. You got to raise this stinking thing up anytime you do anything to it. So we're going to drop the seat back down for now and put the battery in, see if it cranks over. Unbelievable. So I've got my $49 Walmart battery hooked up. It's in the back seat, and well, that's a good sign. The temperature gauge that I added, an aftermarket temperature gauge, and the key reminder's buzzing. So we're going to turn this thing on and see what happens. Oh, we got some lights. It is an automatic. It's got fuel in it, about half a tank. Okay, so here's one of the truly crappy parts about the van, is when you have to do any maintenance on it or figure out what's going on, you got to take out the passenger side seat, that cover plate and everything else. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all that, and then we'll take a look at it. And that's one of the reasons why this van tanked in popularity, because no mechanic wanted to work on these things. I'm going to take the seat out, and we'll get that cover plate off, and then we'll take a look at the starter itself, because it's not engaging. Okay, I got the cover back. Holy crap. Alright, and I'll be honest with you, even with the cover back, it's still a pain in the rear. I'm going to have to jack it up, get up underneath to look at that starter, and I think I probably have a spare one. At one time I had 3 of these vans, so I may have a spare one. But you can see how compact this thing is, and as far as getting into it, if you change one of these motors out, you basically lift the van up and drop it out from underneath. Alright, I just stuck the old farm jack underneath it and lifted this side up. And then you're safe just to crawl under it. No, you're not. Make sure that you put some jack stands or something underneath it, because farm jacks are notorious for flopping over or something falling. Put something underneath to support it. All right, there's that little booger right there. Now you can see the wiring comes up from underneath, and I'm gonna get my electrical tester. I'm gonna need a little help, but see if we got voltage coming into both sides of it, and if it's indeed calling for juice at one time. Mainly that main battery, if it's not getting power to that main terminal there, nothing's going to happen, because the solenoid will click, it's getting 12 volts, but the starter won't. I got my power probe 3, and I'm underneath the belly of the beast, and I'm going to see if we got any voltage here. We got 12.54 volts, so it should be starting, which means that starter is bad. So I'm gonna have to take this starter off, and I think I've got another one, but I don't have it here, so not much I can do with that. All right, 2 bolts and the starter's off. How exciting is that? That's the start wire right there. So we'll go see if I've got another one, and take a look at this one too. Figure out why it's not working. Okay, so after 5 years, the starter's taking a crap, and I don't know, it doesn't look like it has any water damage or anything like that, but there's something wrong with it. I'm going to go down to my storage building and see if I did indeed hold on to one of the starters for these things, because at one time I had 4 or 5 of them, and see if we can get this thing going and seeing what else is wrong with it. I've always admired the Toyota vans from the standpoint of the design of them. There's nothing that drives like one, because you're sitting on top of the wheel. It's really super cool. Hopefully we'll get somebody that'll appreciate it and it will take care of it. But more than likely, if you buy it and you don't know how to work on it, you're going to overheat it and destroy it in, short amount of time. Next video is going to be seeing if we can get it to start. I'm David from the Redneck Garage. Keep turning wrenches.